Hello YouTube. This week I've got the keys to a 2018 Subaru Legacy Sport. Let's take a look. So here we have the 2018 Legacy Sport. This is the 2.5i they call it. So it's a 4-cylinder boxer engine. 175 horsepower. I believe it's 175 pound-feet of torque as well. This is a mid-size sedan, so compete with the Camry, Accord, those kinds of cars. But this one here does have all-wheel drive because it is a Subaru, and it's priced pretty competitively. It's $31,000 for this model, and it does have a lot of goodies in it, and which we'll go through. The big one for Subaru fans is it has the eyesight, which is basically radar cruise and pedestrian detection, and it's got the lane sensing as well. So the nice thing about this, I guess, is because of the all-wheel drive. If you're looking to get around in the winter, especially in Canada, it is important to a lot of people, the stability of having that. It's not as big as the newer Accord or a Camry. They're pretty big, those cars, but it's still a fairly large vehicle, as you can see here. Large trunk. We had a big suitcase, the big ones you put in. You can carry like your whole wardrobe in. We easily fit in there with a bunch of other stuff. You do get your tools down here and a full-size spare. With the all-wheel drive system, it's kind of essential to have that spare. So you don't have different rotations and mess up the differential. It's got 60/40 split rear seats, and you can flip that down. You just pull on this lever here, and then you're going to have to go on the inside. It doesn't just go down by itself, so that's kind of a pain. You have to kind of walk around and do it. But we'll go do that right now, and you'll see. The trunk, I was going to mention this actually. It's nice. You don't have the intrusion at all here, but it's a little bit of a pain to close. But it's not bad. Come around the side here, we'll pull down that seat. So now that I've released it, it just flops down. And you do get a mostly flat floor, because they've kind of raised it up here in the back a bit. So it's almost flat. It's got a little bit of a lift to it, but it is almost flat, which is nice. The seats here are kind of a fabric-y gray, it's a nice seat anyways. And you've got your child lock, or for your baby seat down here. This here is kind of like a vinyl along the sides with the blue stitching. Come on in here. You get a look from the back seat of the whole car. On the back here, you've got your, not very much. You've got power windows, and that's it. And you've got some mat pockets here. Each side, you do have USB. It's kind of hard to show it here. 2 USB ports down here, and they're 5-volt, and so they'll charge or power like an iPad. And up front here, there's some more USBs I'll show you. This is that same material that's on the seats here, and Subaru's done a good job of sprucing up their interiors over the last couple of years. They were pretty basic before, and now they're more competitive with their competition. I think it's a little bit of Toyota influence in these cars now. You've got a sunroof up here, just a regular sunroof, but it does the job of what you expect. This car is for the Sport $31,900 something. So let's say 32 grand plus PDI and freight. You're looking at around $35,000 for this vehicle, but you are getting all-wheel drive. Let's hop in the front seat. So up front here, as I mentioned, a little bit of Toyota influence. I think that start button is right out of Toyota's. They've improved the interior. You've got this nice bright display. This looks like an Android system. It does have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. So you see right here, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Pandora, Subaru, Starlink, AHA, TravelLink. It's got, Sirius XM radio. If you go into radio here, you've got AM, FM, and Sirius XM, and other media, so you can plug in your USB, and you can go Bluetooth as well. And then under car info, you've got some driving statistics. So it'll show you the all-wheel drive system. Not too many people are taking a Legacy off-roading, but it's got your degrees of angle and that for off-roading. Vehicle monitor shows your average speed and fuel economy, and then of course you've got your maintenance schedule and that in here as well. And you can kind of add a few things in here to this as well. So if you go under here, the one thing I wanted to mention, if you go under settings, this works pretty well. Like, everything is pretty quick, sound. You can see how it's pretty responsive. The only thing is under settings, you can scroll with this bar here, but then you see it kind of like hops around and it kind of annoying. Or you can scroll by sliding, which is nice. But then I found that when you scroll with sliding, of course it's not going to do it now, but whenever I'm driving and I do it, there you go. It opens up one of the things I clicked on. Like if I'm I'm scrolling, but I accidentally held too long, then it'll click on it and go in. Minor annoyance. You're probably not going to be in there that often anyways, so not that big of a deal. So what else? We got auto climate control, dual zone here, which is nice. We've got heated seats for the driver and the passenger. Down at the bottom, you've got a couple cup holders, a little spot for some change or your phone or whatever. My phone fits in there. Nice big compartment again for your wallet, keys, phone, whatever you want to stick in there. It's got auxiliary jack, 2 USBs, and a power adapter in there. There's no way I can get the camera kind of down there. I can try, but it's kind of dark in there anyways. So you've got that there. You can leave that open, close it, whatever you want. It's got an electronic parking brake down here, and hill hold, automatic hill hold assist, which is kind of silly in an automatic transmission car, I think. This car is equipped with an automatic. It's a CVT transmission, and it has paddles, which will simulate 7 gears, so you can flip through the gears if you want. I don't know too many people. I've talked to people that have an automatic with the paddles, and they say they never use them. And I've been saying that for years. I would never use it, but I guess maybe somebody wants to play with it. It seems like a gimmick that manufacturers are adding. I don't get it. Anyways, nice big case here. And, here's another change holder and a stuff holder. And another power plug in there. And you can put some more junk in there. So, like, my gloves will fit in there probably. No problem. So, there you go. That's nice and big. The headrests here are nice. They spring back and click forward, so you can kind of rest your head on that if you need to. Whatever is more comfortable for you. So that's a nice feature to have. Up front in the dash here, we've got your regular analog tach on the left here, and your speedometer on the right. You've got your trip information on the bottom, and there's a couple buttons on the steering wheel here. And you can go through this information display, which is up top. And so you can go through this. You can see kind of all the things that are going on. And you can have your speed in digital format here as well. I like to leave it on the average fuel economy one here. So I've been averaging 7.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is amazing for a large all-wheel drive vehicle, I think. I've traveled... I reset the trip when I picked up the vehicle. I've traveled almost exactly 450 kilometers, 449.4, and I have 450 kilometers left on the gas tank. That's 900 kilometers total, and I still am just over half. So I've driven 450 kilometers in this tank, and I have over half a tank of fuel left. So that's been one of the things that impressed me so far with this vehicle. What else does it have? It's got cruise control on the steering wheel, and it's got your volume control and your Bluetooth audio and that. The cruise control is radar cruise, and if you turn that on, and it says eyesight disable, that's because it's not started. So let me start it up, and the eyesight should come back. There we go. The eyesight is back, so now it's on cruise control with the eyesight. If you hold down the lane, so you press this button, you'll see these little things that shows you how far you're going to follow the vehicle. You press it back and it goes down to 1, so that's the closest distance. If you hold that button, it'll beep And now you just have regular cruise control. So you can still just use regular cruise. You don't need to be using the eyesight. And you hit the other button, it goes right back. Now the cool thing is you see these red lights on here. I'm hoping this shows up. That's the brake lights on. If I let go of the brake pedal, they go off. Touch it, they go on. Of course, when the computer controls the car and hits the brakes for you, that same thing happens. The lights will go on. So it's kind of cool. You can see your lights coming on there. The car will come to a complete stop in traffic, and then, but it doesn't seem to resume. What it'll do is it'll beep and say the car in front of you is moved. You just tap the gas pedal. You don't have to press the gas pedal. You just kind of tap it down, and then the car will resume. So it doesn't resume by itself from what I've experienced. It kind of, you just need to give it a little nudge to get going. Over on the left here, you've got the lane departure, blind spot detection, parking sensors, and trunk release, and a stability control, traction control button to turn it off. And you've got, power windows, auto for just the fronts. The back are not auto down or auto up. So you have to hold them down and hold them up. These are auto down and auto up. So full auto for those, for the two front ones. The interior itself is kind of nice. This is not the top of the line. There is higher models than this with leather and that. This here is like I said, the fabric seats with some kind of vinyl on them. And this is kind of rubbery, you see, and it's nice. It's well done. I was going to say that Subaru has kind of built the better Camry here because they basically built a Camry with all-wheel drive. But the new Camry, which I haven't driven, but I'm actually driving next week, is apparently like worlds apart of every other car that's come out in a long time, mid-size sedan. I guess everybody's raving about it, so we'll see about that in a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, let's take this guy for a drive and talk about how it drives. So it's reasonably quick. It's pretty torquey, 2.5 liter, 4-cylinder engine, as I mentioned. It's pretty torquey, feels pretty peppy. The CVT transmission, again, not a big fan of CVT transmissions. Lets it down a little bit. You get that moaning sound, but you do get the advantage of great fuel economy. And once you're up to speed, it's super quiet. So there's a little disadvantage, and there's quite a bit of advantage for most people. Normal driving, it's perfectly fine. It's just if you're a little bit aggressive driver, you might get annoyed with it. Overall, the car drives very smooth. I've been, it's wintertime, there's potholes, there's rough pavement, and I've been super surprised at the way that this car can dampen those potholes and that. Even driving my truck, going over the bigger kind of bumps in the roads, was actually back to back. This was smoother than the truck, so that really, really surprised me while I was driving this, because I picked this up in Gatineau. For those Quebec, the roads are not great in Quebec. And it was really, really smooth. Headlights, LED headlights on this thing are great. Drove back at night from a highway trip, hence the 450 kilometers on it already. And headlights are amazing. Put the high beams on, just as amazing. Like really, you can see as far as you want. It does have fog lights, and it has automatic high beams. So if you flip the switch forward, and I'll turn, so the headlights are on right now, the switch is already forward. So the high beams aren't on right now, but the switch is forward, right? So whenever it gets dark enough and there's not a car approaching me, or I'm not approaching a car, the headlights will go on, the high beams will go on, and they'll go off automatically as to not blind the other drivers. In terms of road noise, I think this car does really well. There's a little tiny bit of road noise, barely any wind noise. The little bit of road noise I'm going to attribute to the winter tires that are on it, which are always noisier than the all-seasons they put on the cars. So I'll give it that. I really am. As I said, I kind of feel like it's a better Camry because you're adding all-wheel drive. And the price point is really good on this vehicle. Again, but the new Camry is supposed to be much better. So I guess we'll see that. You can watch that video. It should be released a couple weeks after this video comes out. Well, one thing I should mention about this display here that I forgot to mention while I was talking about it is it does dim with the dimmer here, with the dimmer for the dash, but you can't turn it off. Well, it says it's going off, so you go dimness. Oh, sorry, go back here. You go under display screen, and then you turn it off, and then it says it's off. But as you can see, it's still on. So it doesn't go completely dark like some of the systems. And for somebody like me who lives out in the country and drives when it's like pitch black with no lighting around, that screen still actually being on is quite annoying, actually. If you're going to turn it off, just completely off. I don't want that thing on at all. So thanks for watching, and please do subscribe to my channel and like this video. And I do have other videos coming, usually every 2 weeks. This is the 2018 Subaru Legacy, and I think they've got a winner here. It's actually really good if you're looking for a sedan. I know the sedan market is getting a lot smaller, but Subaru's done a good job with this one, and it should be on your list if you're looking at a 4-door family sedan. Again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.